Hello, everyone.
Hi, Nathaniel.
Hi, Maria. You there?
Yep.
Oh, perfect.
Just trying to figure out my camera situation here.
I'll turn it on here in a second. So, just got done eating an early dinner, which I am getting accustomed to.
Yeah.
Hey, Maria, quick question.
Sure.
I don't get an invite for this meeting, so I always have to go through the agenda in order to.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well, yeah, we'll make sure I'll put it on my agenda or my calendar to just verify that we get you on the list every time.
Okay.
Yep.
So it just takes me a couple extra steps then.
Yep. Sorry about that.
No worries. I'm here, aren't I? So.
Yeah. Michelle, can you please make a note of that? And then I will put it as a reminder as well.
Yeah, we'll do.
Hey, Patrick.
Hi, Maria. Hi, Nathaniel. I was on mute for a second.
Hey, Patrick. Hey, we got a short agenda today.
Maria, you may have to help me with certain terminology if I'm going to run.
Absolutely. Yep, no problem.
Okay.
Hey, Chris. And Tim.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Oh, happy to be here. My video's off because I'm gonna chow down on some dinner, but
No problem.
I'll be on after.
And there's Greg.
Howdy, folks. Sorry, Zoom just really wanted to install an update right after I joined, so sorry. You might have already covered this. Do we know if member Plasters will be here tonight?
I had seen an email from her that she was not going to be able to make it. And then Neil's
Okay.
not either. So this might be it.
Okay, yeah.
So I think whenever you want to get started, Patrick.
Okay. Great. Hi, everybody. We're gonna call to order the Englewood Transportation Advisory Committee meeting for Thursday, September 9th, 2021. I'm Patrick Lewis. I'm filling in for Chairman Neil Sarno with who's out today. And just to do a roll call here, we have Member Naddison, Member Diedrich, Tim Hoos, Member Whitney, Maria D'Andrea, Othoniel Sierra, who's Mayor Pro Tem, and oh, I guess I think that covered everybody. And Mark McKay in Public Works. I think the first order of business is to review and approve the minutes from the July meeting. The minutes are up, posted, and I assume a lot of us have reviewed it before. So would anybody like to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all right. So motion to approve the minutes has been established. Next order of business is,
Oh, I'm sorry, can I interrupt you,
yeah.
Vice Chair Lewis? We'll take the roll just of who approves that, and Michelle will do that.
Okay,
She'll
sorry, go ahead.
Call out the names, okay?
Okay,
All right. Vice Chair Lewis,
aye,
Member Diedrich,
Aye.
Member Knudsen,
Aye.
Member O'Connell. Alternate Member Whitney
Aye.
and Chair Sarno. Motion carries.
okay, great. I can't. So the first order of business. The August 12th, 2001, this is old business, August 12th, 2001 email, the Broadway bike lane, so follow up to that email. Greg, would you like to present this for a second?
Sure. Yeah, I just read through it, and you know,
Oh.
so
Yeah.
I guess that this email from a citizen, Christine Brinker, mentions just that there's going to be an upcoming study, which seems great. And she, I think the main thrust of her email is about how there's benefits to having both a bike lane on Broadway and on Sherman, that they're complementary, not, or that they reinforce each other. They're not, you know, alternatives, that we should consider one or the other. So she talks about some connectivity on the north and south side, and how a network has to start somewhere, and that first piece is often not connected to other things, and about how people are already forced to bike on Broadway, and they're given two really poor choices, either on the sidewalk, where depending upon how far and how fast they're going, I think it's questionably legal, and that if they're in the street, that might be what is technically legal, but it's not safe for them or cars. So she talks about the benefits, small business benefits of having bike lanes going right past the businesses. People on bikes tend to be going on a trip for some sort of activity. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else has thoughts on it.
Yeah, and if you recall, we were going to, I mentioned at the last meeting that we're updating the walk and wheel plan. So I was going to pass these comments on, both member or Christine Brinker's previous comments and then these follow-up comments to our consultant to make sure he's aware of it. I was not aware of that. Arapahoe County is doing a Broadway corridor study in 2023, but I'll also follow up on that with the Arapahoe County traffic staff to see if that's accurate or not, and pass these comments on to them as well.
Great, so that sounds like that's the next step for this, and we'll just follow up with this at our next monthly meeting to see what the status is. Okay.
Certainly, yep.
Does anybody else have any comments on this email or conversation? Okay. All right, if nothing else on that, we'll move on to new business. The first one is to address multiple crashes at the junction on Highway 285 and Old Hamden Avenue, kind of where Hamden kind of makes a interesting curve and there's Old Hamden pops up. Looks like there was a crash report. I'm not sure if that's a study between 2019 and 2021. Oh no, these are just crashes. Okay. And this was a issue brought up by members Madison as well, Madison, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can just share my
Yeah, would you like
perspective.
to?
I'm also I'm curious to hear more details on this report. I guess, you know, I was aware of it just because of coverage in the local news and because of comments on Nextdoor. What I understand of the most recent crash there was that it involved two different cars. One of them ran into the corner of the Caribou Coffee and caused some building damage. You know, went over a curb, over a sidewalk, or oh, maybe there's not a sidewalk there. Went through part of the parking lot, I think, and then hit into the corner of the building and caused some damage. And then another car that it seems was involved in whatever happened went over the curb and sidewalk and grass and down into the parking lot for some of the apartments there. And as I understand it, one of the people involved in this crash ended up dying. So that's certainly a very sad and concerning situation to have there. And as I was reading the news coverage of it, there was comments about how this is a spot that's had accidents before. The Pino's Pizza that's there, I guess that they were closed for about 6 weeks last year because of a car running into the back of the building and took out their cooler, dishwasher, and some other equipment. And then the Caribou Coffee had a situation where a car ran into the wall and broke a pipe, and so it flooded the building. So that's, you know, just what was available from a little bit of quick research in the news. I feel like it's a really tricky situation, and one question that I have about this is who is responsible, because as I understand it, that little corner of retail is part of Cherry Hills Village. It's like the only retail zone in Cherry Hills Village, as far as I know. It seems so weird that that's how that line is drawn. But then I'm curious who is responsible for, or like who you know, I think that 285 is CDOT managed heavily. But does Englewood have any responsibility for what happens there? And could we, you know, do we work with CDOT to make changes there, or is it really up to CDOT to make changes there? And I went out to look at the signage because I wasn't sure what the speed limit is. So at 285 in Colorado, there is a 4-foot by 5-foot sign that says 45 miles an hour, like a real big sign letting everybody know this is a highway, go for it. And then when they get down to 285 and University, there's a much smaller sign, maybe 3 feet by 2 feet, that says 40 miles an hour. And then right before the spot where this curve is, there's a sign that takes it down to 35 miles an hour. And there's the curve, and there's some like black and yellow signs indicating, hey, you've got a curve coming up, you need to pay attention here. So you know, it seems like there's a couple of different options. You know, if anything were to happen as a, you know, in response to this, it feels like there's a couple of different options that could help to reduce the likelihood of you know, such an extreme damage to the buildings and then also to that person's life. But it feels like what's happening now doesn't feel like enough, I guess. The street is really wide. It's also, in that area, just before that, there is, I'm forgetting what the street is, but there's a signal controlled intersection that goes from the north side south into where the golf course is. And that has a crosswalk at it. And that is part of the way that kids can get to Cherry Hills Village. So some of the kids in Englewood go to the Cherry Hills Village School, and they cross there. So that's a pretty big intersection for kids to get across there. So those are just, my thoughts and observations about what's going on there.
And so just, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Patrick.
Just for clarification, I'm assuming, and you may have touched on this, but because the speed limit decreases so suddenly, cars that are headed westbound on New Hampden or 285 just try to get off too quickly on the one way and overshoot it or undershoot it, whatever, into the building. Is that how it's typically these major accidents are happening?
I don't know. I mean, I'd be curious to hear about the results of the
Okay.
of the investigation. My sense is that it's a pretty fast street to begin with, and that in terms of the speed limit, and then in terms of the design, it feels like it's designed, more like a highway for probably even faster than like the 35. It feels like it's lower than what it's designed for. With really wide lanes and a lot of concrete. It just gives it the like concrete median and concrete walls around it, I think, give people a feeling of, hey, it's fine for me to cruise on down this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the big issues is just the whole curve in the road, right? I've seen accidents actually happen there too. Like I've just been driving and seen them happen. And I think it's a lot of people just not paying attention to all of a sudden you have this quick turn, and it's really that third lane, the closest to the shops, that I would say would probably cause most of the problems. Now, you obviously could have someone just go straight on the outside lane, but so, would a consideration possibly be taking it down to 2 lanes for that turn? So the right lane or the right-hand lane has to go straight on Old Hampden or get over, slowing down things naturally there. Because the 3 on that curve seems tight at points. And, I don't know how many of these are caused by ice or snow or anything like that, but.
I'm kind of curious about the data. Who pulled this data together? And if there's somebody that could talk to the report a little bit, I would love to hear that.
Yeah, so that report's a little bit misleading. So you can see there, the title is 285, 1300 to 1800 block. So this is, the intersection is right at 1400. So this really does cover more of a 5 to 6 block range. So that looks why there's quite a few there. So we'd have to dig into ones that are specifically at this intersection. I understand there may be some extenuating circumstances surrounding this latest accident. And I don't know, I'll put Sergeant McKay on the spot if he knows any details. I believe, though, that the crash report was taken by CSP, Colorado State Patrol. So I'm not sure if we know a lot of details about this latest crash. But I probably have mentioned this before. We are getting underway a study of all of 285 from Lowell Boulevard out in Sheridan all the way to I-25. And that's a multidisciplinary or multi-jurisdictional study. And this accident or this crash would definitely be included in that. So if there are ways that we can work with the engineering, if there are those chevron signs, which is those black arrows on the yellow background, are those adequate? Could we do something more? Continue as you mentioned, Member Whitney, move that, have that rightmost lane in the westbound direction just continue straight. But even there, we've had complaints about people coming so fast off of 285, and then all of a sudden they're within 1 block, they're in a residential area. So, I think all of those things need to be looked at. And is the curvature can be realigned somehow, or again, more signage or something else to make people more aware there would be part of that study. But Sergeant McKay, do you have any more details on that crash?
Like you said, it's handled under within the jurisdiction of Colorado State Patrol.
Yeah.
Most of the crashes on 285 are caused by driver behavior.
Mhm.
So it's not really the engineering. It's their choice and their driving behavior. We get a lot of complaints on 285 with the residents along that 285 corridor. From Gilpin is what the red light
Gilpin.
is on. It goes into Cherry Hills and then through all the way to Santa Fe. So the red arrows played a significant reduction in left turn crashes.
Mhm.
So that was a big engineering. So thank you.
Mhm.
We'll continue to look at that. And I'm looking forward to the 285 corridor study.
So one question about like who is responsible there. If Englewood were to decide, hey, we want to go out and give out tickets for anybody who's speeding there to try to encourage people to go slower, could we give out tickets at 285 in Gilpin?
No, that's Cherry Hills State Patrol's jurisdiction, Arapahoe County.
For people going westbound.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And or I guess is that
It's
true
tricky right there.
eastbound as well? Yeah.
Yes, eastbound.
Okay. And if we wanted to like the change to 35, the sign about the change to 35 miles an hour is really right before the curve. So if we wanted to move that up, would that be a decision that Englewood would make, or is that again Arapahoe County or CDOT?
It would be a joint decision with, we could suggest it and have Arapahoe County implement it, but it would be up to Arapahoe County to facilitate that work with CDOT.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I guess Cherry Hills also plays a role there in theory, since this affects them on the south side and it affects their parcel of that commercial strip.
Cherry Hills doesn't have the roadway. They have the curb line. So inside the private property, it's really confusing. And I understand. And so the collision happened on 285. So therefore it fell into State Patrol, Arapahoe County, because Arapahoe County, State Patrol does all Arapahoe County's crashes.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate this being brought up, and I know we've got some studies going on, and I think this is just us having this on the docket and talking about it and giving it some attention. I think is important, as an input to that process. I'd be curious to see what the study comes up with, and I think there were some good ideas on here of I'm not sure how to implement, but I think signage in general probably could use some improvement. That could be like an easier short-term win before the effects of a study go in, because maybe a study is going to want to realign the roadway and do something with that corner right there, and it's going to take years to get some funding, and it might take a while for something like that to happen. So if we had some opportunities to do some easy wins, even with just like the signage, I think that would be great. It is kind of a scary, dangerous corner there, and people do come in pretty hot for all the reasons talked about, and it's that westbound traffic. The eastbound, they're kind of going uphill, people accelerating. I have to imagine most of these were on the westbound side. I don't know if you can really tell from this report if they were eastbound or westbound traffic. I'm assuming most of them were probably westbound. That stretch there, there's something we can do easy. I think that would be great.
Yeah, we've really got to look at get each of those reports in that list to be able to look at westbound, eastbound, the exact location and analyze each one of those. So that would have to come from PD to get us that detail.
So I guess what would next steps be? Wait for this investigation to kind of materialize more, and then we could keep this on a topic for old business and address it more detail when we get some more information.
Yeah, we can certainly, pass on to
Okay.
CDOT or in Arapahoe County to consider like maybe a curve ahead sign or something, or move, like, as
Okay.
you said, move the speed limit sign further east so that there's more awareness. Just look at the signage in general in the westbound direction. We can certainly make that an immediate request out to them,
Okay.
given the number of, not only this fatality, but the number, it sounds like Member Knadison, you've heard of other crashes in those buildings or near that corner there. So I'll certainly do that and follow up.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, when I read about the Pino's Pizza being closed for 6 weeks,
Yeah.
I was like, man, that just seems shocking. And that they wouldn't be advocating more to try to get something done, because it feels like their business is at risk. It reminds me of the Hornet on Broadway keeps on putting up signs when they get run in saying, "I promise we are still not a drive-through."
Yeah.
And Pino's is further west, so there's like a couple other buildings there west of that shopping center kind of. So that's kind of surprising to me.
Yeah, I think they're like the second or third business into it, I think.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you guys mind if I ask a question to Sergeant McKay? Just to kind of see if I understood this correctly. So Sergeant McKay, how far does CSP go in west that they're responsible for? Does it stop at that fork, or does it continue going west?
It's really hard to explain. Probably the easiest way to explain it is if you, on the Cherry Hill side, there's a dirt road
Right.
on the south side.
Yep.
And if you do draw an imaginary line from the east along that dirt road to the west, it diagonals 285.
Okay.
And everything east of that is either Cherry Hills or Arapahoe County.
Okay.
Then west of that is Englewood.
Okay.
Looks like maybe from Ogden.
But Marion,
and
really, I
over.
think.
Marion. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments or questions? No. Okay.
So
if not-
Englewood PD wouldn't have a lot of crash data at that, in that area.
Yeah.
Oh, Marion. I see. Got it. It's a small one.
Yeah.
So once you get into Englewood, does Englewood PD respond to crashes on 285, or does it still retain under CSP in Arapahoe County?
Well, if it happens in the city limits of Englewood PD would respond and take jurisdiction.
Okay, even on 285.
Yeah, it just
Okay,
in that area.
I gotcha.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? If not, all right, we'll move on to the next order of business, electing a new E-Tac chair. Whoever would like to volunteer and raise their hand with their Zoom button or with their physical hand.
I have a
I don't
question.
know how
I'm
to
not-
draw the straws virtually. Yeah.
I guess, so as I understand it, Chair Sarno has been in that role for a period of time and has reached the limit of how long he can do it. So we can't nominate and put him in the role while he's gone. That's against the rules. And then Member Diedrich, you've been the chair before. Are you eligible to do it again? Doesn't mean you have to, but I'm just curious what's technically possible in the world.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I was under the impression no, but this is not a presidential term limit here either, so I'm not sure. I don't know the answer.
Okay.
I'll look that up, Member Canadison, while we're talking here in the bylaws.
Okay.
Process wise, I think in the past we've done things where people who were interested would have a minute or two to speak, or if they wanted to, or we can take some nominations, and if there's more than one candidate, I suppose, then they can say their piece. But I'm not sure. Patrick is also eligible. You're vice chair right now, Mr. Lewis, and I don't know if I don't think there's an issue with him being chair while running the process of like being a potential candidate. I don't think there's an issue with that. I don't have an issue with that. But just a point of clarification there. And what is, can someone remind me, what is our total count of members, not just here tonight, but of voting members? Just like to make sure everybody has an opportunity who would be interested as well. So we're missing, Neil, of course, who can't. Is he term limited? I think it's 2 consecutive. I don't know if you can do it again after. Well, Marie, you're looking at it.
Yeah, so we have 5 members and then 1 alternate member. So we do have a full membership right now with Member Whitney serving as the alternate member. If someone is not in attendance, then he can vote and act just like a regular member. And then but he would not be eligible for chairing until he becomes a permanent member. So it's really between the 5 of you. And then, as you mentioned, Neil has termed out. Still looking for the bylaws here, but I believe that Member Diedrich can come back on, but I'm going to clarify that here in a minute.
I guess I feel like if anybody wants to do it, I'd be happy to nominate them. I don't, I think we can also probably nominate them ourselves. And maybe Member Diedrich, you could talk a little bit about your experience. What are the responsibilities involved? Any feelings or any tips you have, anything like that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to share. So, generally it's helping to shepherd the communications of the group here, putting together agendas and approving the agendas before the meetings. So that's got to be done about a week beforehand so it can be posted publicly. Otherwise, it's kind of just running the meetings. You can make it what you would like, and the city has been super helpful in being open to being flexible on meetings and stuff. And as a chair, if you have some members, that want to do stuff, we've done some things in the past where we've met off site, things like that, which has been kind of fun. We've talked about doing that again soon. So kind of helping those things happen. But otherwise, running the meetings, and the city's got a nice little cheat sheet of Rob's rules. It's not quite Robert's rules, a little lighter for running these meetings. Patrick, you're doing a great job today. And but it is a little nerve-wracking sometimes running the meetings, but you got a little cheat sheet and it's pretty easy. So it's fun. It's good. And it's fun to be a little more involved with that stuff sometimes. And So if anybody's interested.
Just as a point of clarification, in the bylaws, sorry to cut you off, Member Dietrich. It is, you can serve 2 years in a row. It's an annual election, and you cannot serve as chairperson again unless it's been past 2 years. So you have 2 years off period, but you can serve 2 consecutive years. And that's page 15 on the City of Englewood Board and Commissions policy from 06/21.
All right, thank you. Finding that.
So Member Lewis, you've, I think, filled in the most recently. Are you interested in being the chairperson?
I mean, honestly, I did just start a new job and I will be traveling occasionally and sometimes during the week. Maybe not right now with COVID, but they're trying to open up at some point in the winter. So honestly, I don't want to. Neil said the only time I would step in is if he was assassinated. And so, except for today. No, no, I don't know.
Okay. What do you think, Mr. Dietrich, from your 2 years in a row annual election cannot be chair again unless 2 years have passed? Do you meet those? And are you interested?
Yeah, you know, it sounds like I do meet those. I was looking forward to someone else taking the reins, so wasn't exactly planning on that. You know, I would love to see someone else do it, but yeah.
Greg, how about you?
You have some good tenure.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think you know, hearing that description, Member Dietrich, that's helpful. Yeah, I'd be interested and willing to be the new E-Tac chair.
Oh, great. I think you do a great job. I
second that.
nominate Member Greg Knadison for chair.
I'll second that.
And I have a vote, so I will third that if necessary.
We'll take an official roll call unless there's any other discussion before that.
All right, Vice Chair Lewis,
Aye.
Member Dietrich,
Aye.
Member Knadison.
Am I supposed to abstain?
I
I think
I'm
I'll
not sure.
abstain. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's Member O'Connell, alternate Member Whitney,
Aye.
and Chair Sarno. Motion carries.
Congratulations, Greg.
Congrats.
So would
Everybody.
this start next month?
I believe, yeah, Neil's term goes through September, so I believe it will, but we'll verify that,
All right.
Greg, and then we'll send you out those Bob's Rules of Orders and the Board and Commission packet just to review those, kind of the way to run the meetings. So
That's good.
great.
Awesome. Okay, well, I guess we can move on to the next step, which is director's choice.
Yeah, thank you. So the important thing, so I mentioned earlier in the meeting, we're updating the walk and wheel plan. And staff has talked with community development, and we'd actually like to have 2 joint meetings with E-Tac and the Planning and Zoning Commission to go over walk and wheel and maybe set some priorities. So we would like to invite you all to the next P&Z meeting, which is on Tuesday, September 21st at 7 p.m. We'll send out a meeting invite for you, but just wanted to make you aware of that date So it's about a week and a half out. We would appreciate any of you showing up that might be interested. And then we'll also do a second meeting with the consultant to talk again about the walk and wheel plan and maybe expound on some of those previous conversations on September 21st. And we'll do that on October 14th. So that would be our next E-Tac meeting. So P&Z commissioners would be invited to that E-Tac meeting, and we'd have one bullet under new business for walk and wheel plan update.
Okay.
All right. So just to make you aware of that, and then just whole lot of construction going on around town. We've got our mill and overlay occurring up in the northwest portion of town. That's basically west of Broadway, north of 285. So you'll see we're starting the concrete work right now. So rebuilding a lot of ped ramps before we actually do the pavement work. And then down in zone 4, we just finished up with our slurry seals. So if you live in that area south of roughly, I think the cross street, roughly 285, but then east of Broadway, down in that area, we've slurried several streets down there, and I think it came out really nice. So just a whole lot of construction. We're doing some storm sewer improvement down around Broadway and the Tufts Union area, and then a little bit west. And then we'll be starting on that Zunai bike lane coming up probably in early October. City and County of Denver, we got all the detail figured out, the IGA with them. And so they'll be actually performing the work in-house with city and county crews to mill off the street, replace the asphalt, and then put in the bike lanes and associated signage. So hoping to get that done yet this year, and knock on wood, no snow. And then just a plug for Bike to Work Day, which is coming up on September 22nd. And so we will be hosting, well, not Public Works, but the city will be hosting a couple of stations around town along with the Chamber of Commerce. So I'll send out more information on that, or you may see it like in your social media feed somewhere. That was it.
All right. Great. Well, next is chairperson's choice. I don't have any major comments. One point of feedback I received in my neighborhood was, which I thought was great too, is I think a lot of us noticed how they've been shaving down the joints or the cracks in the sidewalks to kind of level it out. And I know a lot of us have probably stubbed our toe and almost fallen flat face first. So just got a lot of feedback from people walking their dogs and how much they appreciated that step that the city has taken. So yeah, and I did too. So looks like they did one iteration of the smaller ones, and now they're coming back to do the major assessment. So that's all I have. I guess moving on, the committee members' choice. Member Knudsen, anything?
Sure. I just wanted to share my thanks to Public Works folks responsible for keeping the sign in the ground at Race Street and Floyd at the edge of Packy Romans Park. I don't know what's happening to it, but there were 2 times where it was gone. I assume a car ripping through it and taking it out, and then it got reinstalled, and then a week later it was gone, and then I guess it got reinstalled. So just wanted to share my thanks for keeping that maintained. I think that that's a great improvement. I know from the folks who use that to get to the park or for the bus stop that's there that it's very much appreciated. So thanks for that. Also, just wanted to share that last night, the folks from Metropolitan Residential Advisors, or MRA, they hosted an open house at 888 West Ithaca. They have 3 different projects they're doing they're sort of by Miller Park, sort of in between Miller Park and the Earth Treks are the major milestones that I think of. They have 3 new projects where they own the land, they're doing design work, and are looking for PUD reclassification. I might be getting the language wrong there, but they're looking to basically change the zoning to allow residential development on the land. And they had, I guess that they had a public feedback meeting a couple of months ago, got a bunch of different feedback, and they seemed to really incorporate that. So they have 3 different projects, 3 different sites, as I mentioned, and each one is at a different price band and a different size of unit. They also had a really strong plan, in my opinion, for bike lanes and some some corner improvements to make them ADA compatible, doing bulb outs. And I don't want to like misrepresent what they were saying, but they have some level of budget to be able to pay for those things. And they have folks there, they believe, who can like help to do engineering work or other work. They were sort of saying like, whatever is the obstacle to getting the work done, we want to get it done so that this is a nice improvement to that area. So it's I think a pretty complex situation, because there's a lot of residential southeast of where their properties are, and then there's a lot of industrial southwest of where their properties are. And it's at an interface of a lot of different things, but it feels to me like it's taking some underutilized properties that have been empty, or some of them have been partially empty for a while. And I think we can all relate that housing in Denver is a very scarce resource right now. So it feels to me like something that makes sense. And I invited them to come to a future E-Tac meeting and talk, because it feels like there's a lot of alignment between what they want to do, what the city wants to do, and what the folks on E-Tac want to do. So I'm hopeful that I think that they go for the PUD approval next month for one of the properties. And so the timing, I'm not sure what the timing exactly is, but just wanted to share that with folks. I guess the one big project they were talking about, that where I was curious whether it might be better to change it, was putting a bike lane along Windermere. And I know that we've talked about from Oxford up to Hamden, basically. And I know that we've talked about the opportunity for a rail trail, and that feels like a better solution to me than trying to put a bike lane on Windermere itself. So that was the only one that felt to me like there might be a different, like a bit of a change to what they were proposing. But the other things all seemed like really solid ideas that would be a win for them and a win for the city.
Yeah. And speaking of Packy Romans, I read that they're having a night out event tomorrow around 4 with games and live music. So that's pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah. There's a new park was opened up, I guess, about a month ago, and it's really awesome. So
nice.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Great. How about Member Whitney? Anything you'd like to share or add?
No, nothing here. I appreciate
Okay.
the time though.
Great. Member Diedrich, yourself?
Thank you. Yeah, I've got a few things. First, congratulations to Member Addison being elected new chair. He's been with us for a while. Lots of great contributions. I think you're going to do a wonderful job. So thank you. Question for Maria real quick on alley grading, or maybe someone else, probably Maria. In my area, we had almost the entire block receive code enforcement notices on weeds in the alley, and I was curious if that was an indication of something that was forthcoming, or if it was a part of the process, because I know some of the more expansive in-depth grading is requiring the alleys to be cleared out a little bit. So I was just curious if you had any thoughts.
Yeah. No, so that would have, if you got a notice like that, it would have come from code enforcement. What we're doing with the alley grading work, we are clearing out weeds. We are going basically straight up from the edge of the alley right away up to a certain distance and clearing them out, not necessarily back to, like, let's say your garage face. But so we are doing some weed removal, but not necessarily with there's no correlation, I'm trying to say, with those enforcements. So code enforcement is out. they, I believe, have a part-time person who's focused on weeds in the alley. And so that may have been why you received it. So I don't think it's anything to do with the alley grading work.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I've thought that was interesting, and I thought, maybe that is a good idea. Have them go check it out before you guys go out, so we don't have to, pay the contractors to do it. So I wasn't sure if that was part of the plan or not. But okay, and yeah, it seemed like my everybody I talked to on the block got one. It looked like they just gave everybody all the way up and down. So that's kind of what stoked that question. Second question or comment. There was a recent change to the stop sign by the Chick-fil-A on Cornell and Acoma, and in the last few months, and I have lived in that area, and so I talked to a few neighbors, and generally most people were pretty happy with that change, and
Good.
so I appreciate you guys taking care of that. The one piece of feedback that I did get that may have been that I would consider negative would be because we switched the stop sign from the east to west lanes to the north-south lanes, which has helped calm traffic quite a bit. I guess the counter effect is that people coming off of Broadway heading westbound are coming a little bit faster. There's an apartment complex on Bannock and Cornell on the corner there, and a lot of people park back in there and come in and out of the alley, and then as well as the other block north of there. And so a couple of people I talked to in the area did say they noticed traffic was coming a lot faster, and they were a little more nervous coming out of the alley, out of there, because then the stop sign is now at Bannock instead of Como. But I think that's probably the same problem you run into on all the other blocks where the stop sign is 2 blocks off Broadway. So I don't know if that's really worth investigating, but I wanted to provide the feedback and say generally very well received. So thank you guys for that. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up was just we had had a presentation in previous meeting about scooters and bikes, and I just wasn't sure if there was any progress or anything going on. It sounded that may have gone to be potentially a city council topic, and so I wasn't sure if there was anything else we needed to do or an update that we needed to have. And so just sort of generally, maybe Councilman Sierra has a comment on that. I don't know if any of you have an update on that.
Yeah, actually, I was going to mention that as part of my talking points tonight. But yeah, we just spoke about it this past Tuesday. We have passed it on to city staff and the city attorney's office to look at the wording, the verbiage of the MOU. But basically, I can't remember if it was unanimous or not. I don't think we needed a vote. I think we just, yeah, at the very least, it's in the hands of staff in order to bring something back to us in the near future. And then we'll vote at that time. So we don't know what the timetable is. Director DeAndrea, I'm not sure if you know about how long that may take, but it's in their hands as of this past Tuesday.
Yeah, given staff resources right now, we're just spread really thin. So, and they probably don't want to deploy during the winter time. So it'll probably be spring of 2022 before we roll something out. But we did just get the head nod from council 2 nights ago. So yeah, that just as Mayor Protem said, we'll go back and finesse that, and that will probably come back to E-Tac to talk about some of those details as well before we actually roll out the program.
Oh, that is true. So yeah, because there were a couple of questions that came up, and I actually passed along some of the comments that I received from citizens after Tuesday's discussion. Okay. So yeah, I'll probably voice those if I don't see them in the final version.
All right. Member Diedrich, do you have anything else you'd like to?
Nope, that's all for me. Thank you guys, and thank you for everyone for hearing that.
Great. And while we're on the top, back to you, Mayor Pro Tem Sierra, would you like to add anything else?
No, that was it. That's all I had.
Oh, okay. All right. Tim Hughes, would you like to share anything?
Well, nothing big. I appreciate the comment on the trip hazard removal project. That was pretty successful there. It was cost us about $60 per joint to do that versus about almost $200 to replace the concrete. So that saved us quite a bit of money. It's good to hear that people appreciate that or noticing that. It's good to hear. That's all I have.
Great. Yeah. Thanks. Okay. Sergeant McKay, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate Chair or future Chair Kennedison.
Yeah.
And the other comment I have is the Englewood block party is scheduled for September 18th and how it's going to affect the Broadway corridor. So the Broadway, the 3400 block of Broadway north and south is going to be closed from like 10 o'clock to about midnight. Because once we get all the vendors out, we're going to run a street sweeper through there. So we'll have signboards out in the next few days educating the public of that road closure in conjunction with Public Works. So thanks, Maria. That's it.
Okay. I don't believe I missed anybody, but if anyone else would like to share anything more, no? Well, if not, I guess give you back part of your evening and I guess we could motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I'll motion to adjourn.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, everyone enjoy their evening and thanks for all your time. And
Thank you all so
congratulations,
much.
Greg.
Good night, everyone.
Have a good night.
You too. All right. See ya.